Hey, so if you're a golfer and you have low back pain or you have neck pain, because I do, and I have not been in the gym the last few days, so I'm going to show you what I do to treat those symptoms, prevent or mitigate some of the pain in the future. If you have a pull-up bar, that's a great place to start, just in terms of decompressing spine. You can see shifting my neck a little bit back and forth, getting that neck stretch going with the arms overhead. It takes the weight of the arms out of it. Your neck is not holding up your arms as much. Playing around with the grip to make sure that you're really supported, and you can let that release of compression go down your spine. So first letting your arms lift up, so getting that scapula to move slightly upward. Oh, it feels nice. Getting a couple cracks and pops in my neck. So I am going to do a couple pull-ups. You can't do a full pull-up, it's fine. You can put your foot on a step and just do part of it. I'm going to keep kind of switching up the grip to get at the parts of my back that are particularly sore. There's a forward but kind of narrower grip coming. I'm going to do what's called an around the world pull-up here. On to the next. Got a 20-pound weight. Nothing too fancy, just a bench row with the knee up, just helping to engage some muscles in the posterior of my body. So you might be wondering why I'm not using as much weight as I can for that exercise. Part of it, so I'm going out to play golf today. And just in general, when you're in season for golf, there's a trade-off between building muscle and gaining strength, but then you have a drop-off of performance in the short term before you actually reap the benefits of the strength training, which actually is making you weaker in the short term, basically. Right now, the focus of this session for me is to reorganize some of the imbalances, and just to feel control in different planes of motion. I have found that, at least for me, it's like if I start with a slightly lower weight, I'll have an increased desire to go for a higher weight in subsequent sets. Once I have that kind of blood flow effect of just doing a bunch of reps and just getting the movement pattern going, I find that then I want to increase the intensity in some capacity. So that's just what's worked for me. Another thing that I've found with several of the golfers that I've met and I've worked with, a problem with glute med, and I'm one of those golfers myself. The reason that I'm up by a pull-up bar is this gives you the opportunity to work on both at the same time, both sides. Part of the function of the glute med is to stabilize the pelvis. The glute med is just like the deltoid, but of the hip. It moves in all directions, like your shoulder can move this way, this way, this way, and it can rotate your shoulder. Glute med does the same thing. Boom, boom, and then rotate. It does all those things in the golf swing with this three-dimensional torquing that we're doing to ourselves. Glute med also help to just stabilize the position of the pelvis. And if you have the top of your pelvis, which is right here, if you go just slightly below it, that's where your glute med is. If you press on it, it is probably going to be sore. So what we're going to do here, if you're going to go sideways like I'm doing, clasping your hands might be a good idea. Going out with both legs at the same time. Eventually you're going to want to be able to have your legs straight. Right now, just with there not being that much height on this pull-up bar, my legs had to be bent a little bit. Legs straight, out to the side. And then to make it even more challenging on the glute med, you're going to want to point your toe this way. And what that does is it takes this little muscle called the TFL, and it activates its function of internal rotation, so it's busy on that. And then the abduction going out to the side, now that's all on the glute med. If you have your hip rotated outward like this, then the TFL is not working on internal rotation, but it then gets to share the burden of abduction. Okay, so whichever camp you're in, if you want to make it more of a challenge or if you want to have it be more supported, you either turn it in, turn the toe down, or turn it up. So I'll show you those. So up or down. Oh. Those are the two different directions you can go from there. And again, that's if you're kind of working on the stabilizing function of the glute med and you are able to fire both at the same time. Doing both or doing one at a time while hanging is actually kind of destabilizing. So if I go one at a time, you see my whole body has to like shift and compensate. So that's just something to take note of. So if you want to work on the extra torso stabilization, great. I use the hanging glute med exercise specifically for bilateral. One more glute med thing. This is when you're lying on your side, not like lifting this. That's going to make it just easier to focus on here. So this is kind of like base level, just wanting to start to sense how your glute med functions. This is going to be great for that. So first of all, just lifting your upper leg like this, you're going to start to feel some things. And again, then you can play around with toe down, toe up. And again, this is the sort of most supported version because you're getting even some hip flexion involved here by turning the toe out. You're getting some hip flexors involved. Whereas here, this is pure glute med here. And so the next version of that is you start with it here, you go in front, you go up, you go back, you go up, and you go back, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel that. There's no doubt about that. Gotta go, bye.